College Gold.
Absolutely. Starting us off here for our DPS, we got Who's James, Blaku. Then we go into our tank, Galvanio, onto Toonie and Carp. So, I mean, Center College Gold obviously showing off what they've been made of in week number 1. A clean 1-0, a clean 3-0 against the Nighthawks varsity team. And so now let's go ahead and take a look at Georgia Tech Gold and who is playing, starting us off on this lineup.
Yeah, once again, another talented roster highlighting all these players: All-Star Mikey, Kill Switch, NECC, and Regamores. I mean, I've seen Georgia Tech a lot. I do a lot of CGL work, and a lot of their teams tend to compete in that league. So they definitely have a lot of talent on their team. I mean, it makes sense coming in 1-0. Let's see if they can continue to keep this up against Center College. But like we mentioned, both teams feeling pretty confident, but the equalizer is going to be...
What better place to go to than the standard control map itself, Lijiang Tower.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a lot of brawl type compositions, most likely. As we take a step down divisions, I do think the one thing that's going to be extremely important in those upper divisions, it's all, I mean, we talked about how because it's so early that, you know, teams are sticking, you know, to what they're good at, and we'll figure out where this meta develops. And as it develops in those upper tier divisions, playing what the meta is to extremely high level tends to be extremely important. As you start to take a step down, a lot of the times it's finding what you're good at and getting really good at that and being able to run it against many different situations. So.
Exactly.
Couldn't agree with you more. As we take a highlight over starting out on Gardens, I'll focus on Center College Gold first because it feels like this is what they're going to stick to, especially on a map like Gardens. This is, you know, very par for the course. You're going to get a brawl composition with May Sim. They're going to go with the Ramatra edition of this composition. For Georgia Tech Gold, looks like they are going to stick on the Doomfist, so they are going to play Dive, but they have settled on a Doomfist variant.
They have settled on the Doomfist variant, but the teleporter from Who's James, Symmetra, is going to bring Center College Gold onto the actual site itself first. Georgia Tech Gold going to be in a very tough position to try and uproot them from inside of there. We're already seeing some of those difficulties happening, but hey, Kill Switch is going to switch and take out Toonie. All-Star following in with Carp. Blaku is now gone, and Center College Gold along with it.
Yeah, this dive composition Georgia Tech is on is all going to be about isolating and being able to coalesce onto these isolated targets. So if you're Center College, you have to make sure you're playing together as a death ball and making sure they just can't pick you apart very easily, that they have to get through your stalwart wall that is your Ramatra in order to take your team down.
Now we have Who's James switching over from the Symmetra onto the Cassidy, and we know the terror that Cassidy has been this evening, but the flip side is that also Tracer has been on a tear of their own, and so what All-Star has been going to be able to accomplish could pay off in dividends, but already we're seeing Who's James Cassidy pushing away All-Star, but they're walking away from the Immortality field. Thankfully though, Galvanijo going to get rid of NECC, and Who's James Cassidy proven to already be a massive victory point here. Kill Switch pushed away into the Amplification Matrix, but a quick turnaround is going to wipe them up. Center College Gold is going to get this point back relatively soon. There we go.
That's going to be a nice 54% gain for Georgia Tech Gold. The one thing that's a little disappointing is the only ult they really forced out from Center College was that amplification matrix. We now see Mikey swapping over onto the Echo, which we haven't really seen that a lot on this patch, but you know, being able to, with the amount of damage and healing reductions that we get, being able to have that focus beam can be very important.
Hopefully we'll be able to find something out of Regamore's Kitsune Rush. Kill Switch caught on top of the magnetic grenade. Quick pickoffs there inside of the Deadeye. So desperate to pick off Kill Switch inside of it. They do manage to get it just in the nick of time before being taken down by Regamore's. The Georgia Tech Gold is still fighting out for every single last ounce, even without their tank. Those ounces are starting to turn into gallons. Georgia College Gold still trying to tick up in as much percentage as they can. Georgia Tech Gold taking it back.
Nice flip coming out, and again, they're able to do it without having to commit a big conglomerate of ultimates. While Center College used a lot in that fight, used the High Noon and the Blizzard and their sound barrier. So re-engaging this next fight is going to be tough sledding. Yes, you have your Annihilation available, but there's so much mobility available to Georgia Tech.
What a stick! It's a trade! All-Star's gone, lose James. In order to make that happen, we do have Kill Switch. Of course, with the Doomfist ultimate, they can go up in the air, but what a punch from them! Georgia Tech
with 87% to boot. Can anybody touch in time with the slow composition that we're seeing? Blakeu is going to go over to the Tracer to try and touch in time, but it feels like it's futile.
Oh, it is absolutely futile. Mikey on this Echo, headshot onto Blakeu, and then the focusing beam to laser down Toonie. You really only have left Galvanio here. It's on the point with that Annihilation, but you get the duplicate out of Mikey. Georgia Tech Gold just needs to get through this final player of Toonie, and inside of overtime, this first sight is going to be theirs.
I mean, very well played by Georgia Tech Gold. I mean, coming into this new patch, the one hero I kind of didn't expect to see a whole lot of, if I'm being honest, was Doomfist. But it's kind of like what I talked about at the beginning coming into this map, Sam. It's knowing what your team is good at and just embodying your team's identity into this series. And I feel like Georgia Tech is doing exactly that.
Oh, absolutely. But also the look that they have for themselves is just working so well here, right? You think about Kill Switch being on the Doomfist, and then you think about what we've been seeing so far out of Season 9, but it's working so well, and it's also just the way that Georgia Tech is playing as this cohesive unit. Now we go on to the second sub-map, we go into Control Tower. Georgia Tech Gold is up on that one. Beautiful Maywall separating Center College Gold from the rest of the team. Carp in desperate straits here, and then you don't even look at Galvanio, who's flirting at death's door. The immortality field is going to keep them alive for a second longer. Put Blakeu into the face of Mikey. The wall again is going to keep them alive, and for the first time this evening, we're seeing All-Star with that Sojourn. Quick railgun shot's going to put this tank away. Georgia Tech Gold again continuing their momentum from the last sub-map.
Yeah, already Georgia Tech showing their flexibility, being able to come into a map where it basically begs you to be playing a brawl composition, and they go, look, we can pull this out too. We're gonna, play the Ram. We'll have Mikey go over to the May, All-Star play this Sojourn, and we're going to look to pick you off. Blakeu, who was on the Junkrat, realizing the value that the May wall provides in a map like this, and swaps over to the May.
We do have the Symmetra, but that Blizzard, the wall from Blakeu kind of kept them stuck in it, and this forced Center College Gold to go right into the waiting arms of Georgia Tech. And he had arms like Rabatra. Well, it hurts a lot.
Yeah, it completely separated everyone on Center College, allowed Georgia Tech to pick them off, and that was all she wrote. You get an exiting picked onto Genesect, but it's not even going to matter. Lucio's going to be able to get back fast, but now you've been able to build up to some of these ultimates coming in this next fight if you're Center College, but Georgia Tech not going to be one to mess with. They can't allow Center College to take too much space here.
No, they can't. They're okay with giving up a little bit to go back for a lot. Jin is going to open things up again for Georgia Tech Gold. Quick boop off here. Blakeu again! Oh, Jin, what are you made of, my friend? It's not even just a boop, it's just them going one after another. This is Lucio. Support? Nah.
Legitimately, Sam, that felt like a bait and switch. It was like, hey, guys, All-Star is all alone up here. TP to him, and they did that, and they're like, haha, Genesect's here, and booped them all off the edge. It was just a very nice trick play coming out from Georgia Tech. Out comes the Photon Barrier, however.
Out comes the Photon Barrier, but Georgia Tech has every single ultimate to work with. Quick amplification matrix is going to go up. You're just hammering down. You're going to keep Center College on the other side of that Photon Barrier to stay alive, and then now out comes the Blizzard. Mikey may fall by the hands of Blakeu, but you're going to see the Annihilation. You're going to see everything pop from Georgia Tech. Because if they win out here, they just win on Lijiang Tower. But throughout all of this, Center College Gold is still alive. But their health bars are not telling the whole story. Georgia Tech is getting the kills. They're getting the momentum back in their favor. They just need to get rid of the last stragglers, the last scraps of Center College Gold, and then this map should be theirs. And there it is.
And that was just a dominating effort from the get-go from Georgia Tech. Their flexibility playing the Doomfist on Guardians, which was that more dive-oriented map, coming into Control Center and playing the Brawl and just taking it straight on to the side of Center College. I mean, they're showing that they came here to play, and they're like, hey, listen, we get that we're both 1-0, we're both talented teams.
Cassidy at one point, we saw May, Junkrat. And so when the heroes get unveiled, the look of Center College Gold here on Rialto is going to tell us a lot about how they're feeling.
As we load up into Rialto and you see the nice sunset views of the Riviera, going to take a look at what Georgia Tech Gold is electing to play on this defense, and it's not a surprise. D.Va tends to be the main tank we like to play and pick on this map. Being able to control the intermediate high ground to a T with those jet boosters, and especially coming in this new patch with that new passive that the DPS had to decrease the healing received by 20% for 2 seconds if you're hitting your shots. D.Va having that defense matrix to limit the amount of damage and shots these DPS could do are very important. And I think these supports that Georgia Tech Gold leave a lot to be desired. I mean, Ana being able to look for big, especially going up against more of a Sigma poke style composition. And then the Zen, man. A lot of people are talking about Zen coming in this patch. Those Discord orbs are so deadly, but with the increased projectile size, Zen is just a monster right now.
Zen went from shooting little orbs to basically basketballs. So I've definitely been struggling against Zenyatas in my own COP games. But now we see the two teams meet. Who's James on the Tracer this go around, looking to create that disruption in the backline of Georgia Tech? And hey, look, they're back again. They're back to take the fight. Blaiku with the Ash. It's still something where you really are looking to be able to gain a lot of value off of those headshots. Who's James, a quick recall towards the safety, but up in the air. Killswitch is going to get rid of Blaiku in an attempt to find James, but the D.Va pick from Killswitch is just controlling the map so expertly.
Yeah, getting on top of these hit scans is going to be the main job of Killswitch, not allowing Blaiku to have the space to free fire. As the stick comes in, it's already going to find Carpet. Already, All-Star is looking like an All-Star.
That they are. Center College Gold is having some difficulties in getting out of the spawn room. Georgia Tech has gained a little bit of distance, but nowhere near enough to get around the troublesome, bothersome corner of Rialto.
And NECC just being able to play so far back, and with the composition that Center College is playing, it's going to be extremely tough for them to apply pressure onto this Ana at all, as Galvanillo's already down.
Killswitch it's like a puppet master. Whatever they decide, however they want to decide to do it, it is going to be happening on how they dictate it.
I'm sorry, but I love to make dad jokes, so would you say Killswitch is a kill switch? Because he is coming through with the kills time and time again. He's just flipping that switch on and off, and it's just flowing so beautifully on this map so far.
Oh boy. All right, Galvanillo. I'm gonna completely ignore that, by the way. Gonna try their best to match up against the D.Va, but when you have All-Star wrecking Carp again, these pulse bombs are so massive. Toon, the immortality field is all for naught when you have Killswitch booping you out of it. And Georgia Tech Gold, every single ultimate but the All-Star pulse bomb to work with.
We see Center College now trying to have Galvanillo go over to the D.Va to try and help out. It's going to be tough because, I mean, it's just going to take a lot of this DM to deal with All-Star and Mikey, so it really relies on Blaiku, and James to find and get these shots and kills while Galvanillo is trying to distract everyone.
All right, we're going to see what the rally from Carp can bring to Center College, but what it's not going to bring is Galvanillo staying inside of their mech. And without that mech, you're going to see a lot of struggling going on here. Mikey's going to start slicing and dicing up the competition, but a silver lining for Center College, they did manage to get a couple of picks.
Yeah, it's basically going to make it to where Georgia Tech, I mean, you get the pick on a Blake U, and that might change things, where now they can afford to play a little bit up close because the players are going to be coming back. And now Georgia Tech Gold has made a swap. They have Kill Switch going over to the Zarya, and this is where things can get tough for Galvaneo. You have to make sure you do your best to avoid Skill Switch at all costs, because that primary fire is just going to eat your Diva Mech alive.
They're gonna see Tooney using the amplification matrix to maybe try and get around that corridor, but Georgia Tech is gonna dip onto the corner. Another pulse bomb from there. A really good immortality field to answer in kind from Tooney. As All-Star continues to see them being brought into overtime. Megamorphs is not worried. Try to do anything to them. A Transcendence is going to keep them alive as they reorient themselves to better high ground. They go up to the high ground, sees who's James, and deletes them off of the map. Georgia Tech Gold not giving up anything to Center College Gold.
Yeah, less than 51 meters for Center College, man. That was just a showcase from Georgia Tech Gold. And I mean, it's tough. As I talked about, Center College has moved up a division, and Georgia Tech, like I mentioned before, is just one of the mainstays in this Champions division. So this was going to be an uphill battle. But I mean, I liked some things I saw out of Center College. They were able to assimilate some of those dives, find some picks. It was just unfortunate when they realizing the situation you're in, you go, okay, we got a couple of picks right here. You just can't allow to sit here and let Blake U dance and get killed like that. We needed to back up and reassess and look to push as a 5 and not get staggered like that.
Yeah, and that's not to say, though, that Center College doesn't have ideas of what they need to do in order to succeed in their head, right? We saw different hero picks. We saw adjustments to try and stand up to Georgia Tech, but it's just Georgia Tech is oozing this confidence right now, Ray. This knowledge that they are really good at what they do, and Center College just needs that time to form themselves. Again, right, we're in week number 2. There's still so much time for these teams to be able to improve and to work on themselves and to get better at this great game of Overwatch 2, and especially with Season 9 throwing just that extra wrench in the gears and the cogs. It seems difficult.
Yeah, as we see Georgia Tech Gold loading up with the Roadhog. Center College, however, they're going to look to play an Orisa, more brawl-centric composition with the Reaper and the Mace. They got to be careful. I was looking for a cheeky little Javelin. Unfortunately, they do not find it.
Yeah, they're looking to get Rigor Kill Switch, giving us the new and improved Roadhog. Oh, what is that? You never expect the sneaky Roadhog. Shield is going to go up from Carp, but now we rotate back over. The golden box of victory already within sight. Trap is going to go down. Quick hook, but nothing found on the other end of it. Regardless, Georgia Tech is still in control of the high ground. Thankfully, Center College has the balcony to protect themselves, but now they have to deal with the flanking kill switch. Very difficult to get this Roadhog off, and again, we're seeing them being collapsed on all sides. Center College Gold is going to have to keep recognition across all of the different angles, but Carp is gone. Who's James is gone. Georgia Tech Gold having so much of the time on their side. Galvaneo is going to try and keep the dream going here for Center College, but the dream is starting to turn into a nightmare. Ray, to get rid of Tooney. Really nothing left here for Carp. Not even able to touch the cart. Georgia Tech is going to take map number 2 of Rialto and bring themselves on to series point.
Yes, Kill Switch was essentially being basically like a Trojan horse, Sam. Is like, hey, look at me, while my Sojourn and my Widow are able to take angles and kill you all. It doesn't matter if I get the kills or not, because I've distracted you and you're getting your heads popped by my 2 hit scans. So it's just, you know, maybe they did a little handshake agreement to go Maga v Maga.
Maga? What have we been missing here? Okay, give me a second. All right, I'm not gonna get my hopes up until we are actually fighting it out on point. Georgia Tech said no Malga, but Center College is still gonna give us a Malga masterclass. I am sure of it. But doors have opened. Georgia Tech Gold in the lead.
Yeah, I mean, again, Georgia Tech is going to be playing with immense speed and looking to find kills very quickly. It's going to be tough with the amount of chunkiness that Galvaneo is going to have on this Malga.
Oh, I'm loving this, though. right? They get right into the face of Georgia Tech, but the rotation is so clean from this team to get out of their face, and there's really no cooldowns left for Galvaneo. And again, we got to remember that new DPS debuff that you can put onto this Malga, that 20% HP, or healing nerf rather. Galvaneo is just getting hammered, nowhere to go except for the waiting arms of Georgia Tech. Central College Gold may have the point, they may be ticking up, but Georgia Tech Gold had all the patience in the world. Now they're going to have a point to go along with it.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing with playing Moira Lucio with a Malga, Sam, is, Malga has a huge health pool, and Moira has limited heals. So it's only going to be a matter of time before Georgia Tech is going to be able to wear you down. So you got to look to take these fights and win them very quickly because of the limited heals you have available for Center College. We now see Blacku heading over to, Blacku heading over to the May.
And James is gone. All-Star giving us a Sojourn handbook. Long-range railgun, still dangerous as ever. Center College Gold, he's struggling to even get to the point right now, Ray, with their entire team intact.
So many angles that Georgia Tech is able to take. They're going to have the Coalescence and the Sound Barrier to be able to push into this next fight, but Georgia Tech has just been stockpiling these ults.
They absolutely have been stockpiling it. Center College Gold, seeing the need to pump the Sound Barrier, actually does bring them on to the point. Georgia Tech uses the first of their ultimate banks, actually two of them, with the Railgun, with the Overclock, and the Kitsune Rush, but neither side has been able to find the necessary pick just yet, and it seems like the switch over from Center College over onto the Malga is giving them so much more to work with, but all eyes are on the Mikey Dragon Blade. They are drawn it, they are ready to start killing. It doesn't really seem like it matters all of that much. Last second effort from Blacku to get onto the point to make sure they get as much as they can out of it. And Blacku is going to return back around and put forth the effort onto All-Star. But in comes the Rampage, in comes the permanent damage, and out goes Center College Gold.
Yeah, they're going to end up getting this point win for Georgia Tech. But if you're Center College, one good thing you can take away is you force them to use every single ultimate in that fight. So you get to come into this next point, which looks like it's going to be Palace. They will be able to set up on the point first, but you're going to have the big opening ult with James being able to throw in this Death Blossom.
James just needs to make sure that they can actually be able to use it and find the right moment to make that happen. Georgia Tech Gold, though, doesn't have anything to nullify the effects of this. So, again, James, big pressure on them to mount and to stand against Georgia Tech Gold. If they can get the first point here, and a lot of damage is already being done, but All-Star may not even give them the opportunity to be able to use that ultimate. James has basically no health. If they were to try and do it here, it would have ended in their death. And a wasted ultimate. So good recognition to hold on to it, but also good stuff from All-Star to get those picks.
Yeah, I found 4 picks in that fight, absolutely showing out so far on the Saravasa map. The one thing is, yes, you did hold on to that Death Blossom, but because, unfortunately, the way that fight went, Georgia Tech is now going to be able to match you. Genesect has the Sound Barrier online to be able to nullify the effectiveness of this Death Blossom. But Carp will get this Moira ultimate online, the Coalescence.
Wait for it, overclock, right up in the air. Tooney is just going to give it right to them. They're going to look towards making up the next support right for another moment. Kill switch, unfortunately, not caught inside of the Sound Barrier, is going to fall to the James Death Blossom. But all over the place, we're still fighting it out. Mikey looking to equalize things once more. Georgia Tech Gold loses Jin, and along with it, all of the mobility to follow. Center College Gold finally getting the foothold they've been so desperately trying to gain.
Yeah, unfortunately for the side of Center College, Georgia Tech essentially gets that to one-fight territory. However, you are coming up on 3 very crucial ultimates. The one thing they have to worry about, though, is Mikey can get aggressive here, get this blade out before the Sound Barrier is online for Tooney.
Oh, and you can already tell that they're looking towards making that blade happen right here and now. Combo with the Rampage, they do get pushed away, but Mikey's not being pushed away. Mikey's not being stopped. Everyone getting chopped down into the ground. And even if they didn't get the elimination, they did enough damage. The rest of Georgia Tech just sweep on through.
And Mikey knew what the situation was. Pop this blade and make sure Toonie is the first one we go after, because he has the one ultimate that can basically turn my blade into like a pool noodle. So I got him down, and that was just very well played. And that's going to be point. Oh, they do get someone to touch just in time.
Just in time, but how much more can you ask out of Center College Gold? Well, you can definitely ask for that. All the big props to Toonie for being able to make themselves there, but now All-Star has popped the overclock. They're gonna go right into the Blizzard too. They are hungry. They want these kills, but not only that, Ray, they are getting these kills. It looked like Center College Gold was gonna be able to do it, but All-Star said no.
They said, look, my name is All-Star for a reason, and I am going to be the All-Star for my team. One more point for Georgia Tech Gold to be able to win this series in a convincing 3-0 fashion, as they are now going to be able to rotate over to Gardens, which, again, is just going to be a great position for them to be able to take quickly, especially with down there Lucio Center Colleges.
All right, now who's James? Oh my gosh, the deflect railgun shot right back into their face. Down to 80 HP, but back up to full now, standing toe-to-toe against All-Star on this Sojourn, which has been a menace time and time again. Is the Kitsune Rush from Rego Morris, and to add the cherry on top, a sound barrier from Jin. Center College is going to have to try and fight their way through this. Toonie still has a sound barrier of their own to save the team, but Galvanio is gone. Look at the kill feed though. Who's James is going to stand tall against All-Star. This may be just what they need, but what they need and what they're going to get out of this are two totally completely different things, especially when you don't have your tank here and when Mikey has the Dragon Blade again. It felt like they just drew it once before and they are going to try and make it happen again, but the Who's James switch over onto the Sojourn is coming up in massive ways for this, but it's still back and forth, Ray, with Center College Gold having control at this point and taking forward more and more.
Yeah, the Sojourn swap feels very good for Center College, but it's just not enough. I mean, you do get a lot of percentage on this clock, so that is a huge step forward for Center College, but in the end, Georgia Tech is able to flip it. The good thing is, you forced out a lot of the ultimates from Georgia Tech, so you got to come back, re-engage. This Blizzard from Bleaku could go big. I mean, you could just open things up with this overclock that Who's James is going to have available. They have a lot of different ways to go about taking this next fight.
The only thing that scares me is that All-Star has one of their own, and Who's James, an overclock that has run out of time. Mikey descends onto them. Now Sojournless, a little fangless. Center College Gold has to wait for them to come back to re-engage.
That they do. I mean, that's another ultimate you're going to be able to get online is going to be this Rampage. And Genetech does not have the sound barrier up online. So this is a great window of opportunity Center College has.
Okay, we got the Coalescence from Carp, the Rampage right back in their face. And now does it end here? And now, no it doesn't. Who's James up in the air, catches their target just at the right moment. Center College Gold bleeding, hemorrhaging, but they are not done yet. They have the point under their control, and on top of that, they've gotten rid of Kill Switch.
And with that late stagger, this point might just be theirs. And even if Georgia Tech is able to come back in time, both the DPS ultimates still available to Center College. It is looking all up for them as they look to flip this back around.
All right, now brought into overtime. Mikey, the wall, not allowing them to get away or even to be able to use that blade. And Who's James, this overclock, an absolute necessity to make sure that they get this in tandem with that Blizzard, may have just made it possible and will give Center College Gold their first flashpoint of Suravasa.
That's a great first step in this series for Center College, but they have quite a mighty mountain to climb. I'd call this like the Mount Fiji, the Mount Everest of the world, Sam, because not only do they have to continue to reverse sweep on Saravasa, they have to reverse sweep this entire series. Kill Switch, we now look like we're back on Lijiang Gardens once again. We are now back into that dive composition with the Doom Fist. So characters to, I mean, Who's James has to be extremely careful, has to make sure to save that slide for when the dive comes in on him.
And you know it's so important right now to be able to use that sound barrier. Here comes the blade from Mikey. And you're talking about pool noodles? Well, guess what? That's what Mikey is slapping them with right now. Jin is going to skirt across over into the backlines to regroup with Kill Switch. But Kill Switch is just under so much pressure from Who's James. These railgun shots are so clean, but the cleanness is coming right back around from Georgia Tech. The picks for picks are coming back around, but it's still Galvanillo who's alive. Without their supports, though, there is no sustainability whatsoever. Georgia Tech Gold, they don't need no stinking tank. But what they do need is this flashpoint.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be the key with this Tracer and Genji being able to take different angles and continue to apply that 20% debuff to the healing. It's going to make Center Colleges basically they have to find these picks very quickly, or all these angles and all this damage they're constantly going to be able to take. It's not going to work with the limited heals that Moira is going to be able to provide.
Now you're going to have to try back away real quick. It looks like the stick went out there, but nothing of value is going to be found out on the other side of it. Galvanillo catching Kill Switch and forcing them to use the Meteor Strike to find safety, landing right on top of them. The Meteor has landed. The Meteor has blown everything up. Georgia Tech Gold, one more team fight.
Yeah, one final chance to try and keep their hopes alive in the series. Sam, we're looking at both a Rampage and a Blizzard. I feel like with this looming sound barrier from Genesec, you're going to have to use one ult to draw out the sound barrier and counter with the second ult.
All the way up in the air, Galvanillo has given us that Rampage. Georgia Tech Gold hemorrhaging in the blood, and now Blakeu is going to freeze out the competition, but there is nothing that is going to be frozen. All-Star going to try and rock their way into there. A lot of damage being dealt, but Central College Gold still has the numbers in their advantage and is just continuing to go forward more and more. Central College Gold give themselves that lifeline they need.
They're able to exhale, take a deep breath, but they can't afford to do that for much longer, as Georgia Tech is going to be coming back fiercely into this next fight with the pulse bomb in the back pocket for All-Star. However, Who's James, who we talked about swapping over to this Sojourn, has been such a nice uplift to the side of Center College, is going to have to come through with an insane overclock to keep this map alive for Center College.
Need to find out where every single angle is absolutely going to be. All-Star has failed in their mission against Carp, and now we have the sound barrier being used. A little neat move, but they can always come right back up here. The magic of Kiriko, am I right? Toonie is going to sacrifice their lives, and now Who's James seeing an opportunity for the overclock. Jin is gone. No more Lucio's on the field. Killswitch has no HP. Needs to try and rely on their supports to bring them back up, but too much health missing. Too much to try and survive through. Center College Gold is doing it now on Suravasa. 2-2, one more flashpoint.
Let's go, baby. Reverse sweep is alive for Center College. It's all gonna come down to this next map. This next sub-map or sub-point. It's Center College just has breathing new life with Who's James swapping over to this Sojourn, and they're just playing so much better as a team.
A little bump in the road here, though. Who's James got caught out by Kill Switch, and there's still so much more damage that's going to be following up here from Georgia Tech Gold. This might be dangerous here for Toonie. They get out, but Carp is not able to follow along. Try to regroup with the team. Center College Gold had that momentum. They had the opportunity to get there first. But losing Who's James first, that was just too much for them to recover from.
Yeah, and it's very unfortunate because you didn't even have to use any ultimates for Georgia Tech Gold, so that's just a very unfortunate fight to lose there for Center College. They're going to have the ability to throw in this Rampage, but there's just so much online for Georgia Tech. There's the Kitsune Rush.
There's the Meteor Strike. Carp's going to get out of there. Galvanillo's in a desperation move is what it feels like here. Rampages, there was no help at all for them to do anything with. Georgia Tech Gold, 50% of the way done.
And they have the tools coming up on what is going to be final fight, Sam. They have the sound barrier to stop this incoming Blakeu Blizzard, and Mikey has the ability to throw in this blade with no looming sound barrier online for Toonie.
Oh, they've recognized Georgia Tech that Who's James has been the pain point over and over. Jin's just gonna go ahead, use the sound barrier, really no other reason not to. And Mikey, just as a safety net, has the Dragon Blade, doesn't even need to worry about it. Georgia Tech Gold, the last possible moment here on Flashpoint, takes the series 3-0 and continues their undefeated streak.
Hey, I just want to give shout outs to Center College. I mean, after how those first two maps went, you could have thought that, you know, some teams would have just reined it in and would have been like, look, you know, this is pretty much over. Georgia Tech is taking this. But